Welcome to my Crestroyer theory. This is my universe. I'm going through my theory and the essence of my theory is that 50% of the physical universe is missing in the form of antimatter, and maybe this antimatter is located in parallel universes in the form of consciousness. So that would make sense to me, maybe not to you. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, he was living many years ago, and he had the same idea, that there was some monads, he was calling them, that was infinite in number, and those were the creators of the universe. But mine is different than his, that's for sure. He didn't know much about antimatter, the good Leibniz. The atom is not as we see it on this. This is a diagram that we learn in school with the electrons going around the protons. It's much more fluffy, dusty, unpredictable thing today. We know that. The universe expands, and it not only expands, it expands with an acceleration. So it's going much, much faster than it was earlier. Dark matter is matter that is missing due to gravitation in galaxies and stars whirling around each other. There should be more mass than we actually see. We have dark energy that is also a missing mass. It's around 76% of the universe that's missing in the form of dark energy. And it's the energy that is used to push the universe apart from each other in this enormous acceleration that they believe that the universe is going through. We have entanglement in quantum physics. Entanglement is the idea that everything is connected with everything instantaneously, and it's a contradiction to Einstein's relativity that says that nothing can travel faster than the speed of light. But nevertheless, entanglement is proven as an observable fact today. When you observe light, electromagnetism, as a wave, we can measure it as a wave. When you observe it as a particle, we measure it as a particle. Electromagnetism is the force that actually exchanges energy in the universe, and according to my theory, it's the only force that we know at this time in the universe, but I'll get back to that. It is its own antiparticle. That's back from Maxwell's equations more than 100 years ago. When matter and antimatter meet, they annihilate into energy. That is also a known fact. We know that from smashing protons together and electrons together down at CERN in big accelerators. When matter and antimatter meet, they go into pure energy. There is no antimatter in Big Bang, or within a second after Big Bang, antimatter sort of disappears. The last scattering is 379,000 years after Big Bang, and that is where we start observing with our telescopes today. Before 379,000 years after Big Bang, we can see nothing, because it was a soup of energy. Half the universe is missing in the form of antimatter. Dark matter accounts for 20%. Dark energy accounts for 76%, so we have actually only 2% to play around with in physics. We don't know what 98% in physics today is. In the 30s, physics found out that it looks like the charge on the atom is plus infinite in the proton and minus infinite in the electron. And that made no sense, so they said that it's easier to calculate if you say plus minus 1, which is definitely correct. I can understand that they did it, because at that time it sounded crazy. Virtual particles, that is something that we know from quantum mechanics. Virtual particles is located everywhere, and they create and destroy. You cannot find a space in the physical universe that has not virtual particles. they exist. The Higgs particle, the God particle, was found this summer 2012. And my idea is that the quantities that is necessary to actually prove that the Higgs particle fits into the Standard Model, the quantities they have not found yet, but and I don't think that they will. We have in quantum physics also something called the multiverse theories, string theories, parallel universes, many dimensions. The quantum mechanics makes it possible for physicians today to actually say that parallel universe is for real. But how can you prove parallel universes? They don't. We don't see them because they are parallel. So it's a disprovable fact that they exist. But nevertheless, a lot of people talk about parallel universes. I'm going through Big Bang here with the 4 forces. 10 in the minus 43 seconds. That's a very, 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 very short time after Big Bang. Gravity separates from other forces. 10 in the minus 36, inflation starts. 10 in the minus 35th, strong nuclear force separates from electromagnetism and weak nuclear. The universe consists of plasma, a hot electron quark soup. 10 in the minus 32nd second after Big Bang, inflation ends. And what is inflation? It's just a completely incredible expansion of the universe in the first microseconds of the universe. 10 in the minus 12th, antimatter has mysteriously disappeared. That's very, very, very fast after Big Bang. So 1 second after Big Bang, electromagnetism and weak nuclear force separates. Protons and electrons combine to form neutrons. 1 million years after the Big Bang, the universe becomes transparent and starts looking as we know it. So that means that within a very, very short time, a lot of things happened to the universe according to Big Bang. I always had the idea that the speed of light is infinite in vacuum, as there are no perfect vacuum, as I described before. Big Bang and the singularity in time zero also never made sense to me. How can all fundamental physical constants be the same in zero time and zero space? How can something move in zero space and zero time? That is in fact what Big Bang postulates. So I had the idea of 2008. It was a crazy idea. I've always been spiritual and thought that the spiritual world must be 50% of the universe and the physical universe must be the other 50%. So in 2008 I found out, which has been known for many, many, many years, that according to Big Bang, antimatter disappeared and antimatter is half of the universe. So what happened to this half of the universe? I thought, wow, what if it is the spirit? What if it is God? What if it's the spiritual universe that actually exists as antimatter? And it was a crazy idea. But the essence of my theory is, what if antimatter is the mind and consciousness of all living entities, from living cells to organized bodies, and if the missing antimatter is located in infinite parallel universes? That was the idea. Physicists today, they study the effects of an undefined cause, Big Bang. Physicists try to explain the cause by describing the effects of the cause. The cause has to be in the equation, elsewise it is bound to fail. When you bring in the cause of the creation, the average energy of space and time is zero. So basically what I'm saying is that the energy of the complete universe is 0.0. There's no energy in the combined universe. All the parallel universe combined with the physical universe, the energy is zero. Before this universe, there were no light. There was nothing but Crestroyers, space and time. Now we get into my theory. Before this universe, there were no light. There was nothing but Crestroyers, space and time. The Crestroyer has infinite space and time and the quality of creating an effect. So this sounds very much like God. But my theory is also that we're all kind of originally God and creators, and all entities are God and creators, like the good old Leibniz said. The first Crestroyer in this physical universe chooses a point to view from in space. That's why I have this dot on my slide. The Crestroyer creates something, first plasma, all sorts of energy. It just pushes out energy. He creates this energy in what he knows, infinite space. So the Crestroyer creates this energy in what he knows, infinite space. The Crestroyer now meets 3 other Crestroyers in a perfect figure, the tetrahedron. So the tetrahedron is my head here. You can use it as a hat. You can use it to sleep under. I'm not doing that, but I have thought that that might be very good for my mental health. But this hat is a tetrahedron. So what happens when the 4 Crestroyers creates infinite energy is that it condenses in one point, the red spot here on the slide. So when 4 Crestroyers create like a lot of energy, it condensates into one point. And that point in here is the first standing wave, the hydrogen atom. So my idea about how this universe started was with one hydrogen atom. And an atom is, in its essence, a standing wave. It's just a wave going like poof into what we call 0 point. The atom now emanates electromagnetism as we know it. That's where electromagnetism starts. Electromagnetism is a constant create on top of the sinus and destroy on the bottom of the sinus. The combined energy in light is a constant 0, as I said before. The constant 0 is going actually on the blue line in the middle of this slide. Electromagnetism is now slowed down by other electromagnetic fields. The reason I'm putting this into here is because when I talk to physicists about this, they say, well, it can't be right because the speed of light is definitely not infinite. It's 300,000 kilometers per second. So yes, it is today at this space and time. But it has been slowed down by other electromagnetic fields and other virtual fields. We have to revise Einstein. And what I'm saying basically is that strong nuclear force is gravity. The old physicists also said that, but then they found out that strong nuclear force fitted better into it, and it's the standard model as we know it today. But I'm saying that gravity should be put into the atom, so the gravity force is something that is pulling the atom together. The electron orbit is like the balance point. Outside the electron orbit, there's an expansion going on, and that's what we see as dark energy. So Einstein has to be revised. I've done it with these equations that might be wrong, but nevertheless, I've done it with equations, which is kind of an achievement because I'm not a mathematician. I got somebody to help me. Electromagnetism, strong and weak nuclear force, is the same force and formed out of plasma created by infinite parallel universes. Gravity and expansion. And expansion is dark energy, is the reach and withdrawal of electromagnetism. What we see here on this diagram is that plasma creates electromagnetism, the only known force in present time. That's my postulate, but what you see in the diagram, which is from universities, is that energy, when strong, weak and electromagnetic energy, when strong, weak and electromagnetic forces gets pushed up in energy, they kind of align. The 4 Crestroyers had now created the first element in the physical universe, the hydrogen atom. And you have 4 Crestroyers. They get a standing wave in the form of a hydrogen atom. They were different universes, so they had different viewpoints of their creation. Again, different viewpoints, different parallel universes. They looked at their creation from different sides. They only observed half of their creation in the common universe, the physical universe. The other half they observed in their own universe as memory, antimatter. Their individual minds were different as they had different viewpoints to look from. The physical universe is matter, the mind of Crestroyer is antimatter, and all universes are merely waves, particles does not exist. The reason matter and antimatter does not annihilate is due to antimatter being located in different universes. So, the reason that these Crestroyers do not annihilate, because they should, if their memory, their consciousness is antimatter, everything should annihilate into a big, huge energy flame. But it doesn't. It's because it's located in different parallel universes. More Crestroyers joined the party and the physical universe were in its birth. A lot of hydrogen atoms were created and they started forming gases and solids and whatever we know in the universe. So we have three universes. We have the Crestroyer universes, we have the physical universe, and we have all Crestroyers universe. We could define all Crestroyers universe then as the spiritual universe. We have 50 to 75 trillion parallel universes in one human body in the form of cells. Could that be correct? I think so. It's a wild idea. We have a big problem if the speed of light is not constant as I postulate. It's all the physical constants, and there are many of them. We have a good astronomer down in Australia, John Webb. He has a theory that the fine structure constant is not constant. And if that's true, everything in physics today will change. There's 4 sigma on this observation of John Webb's, but they're working on proving that it's correct. What actually he sees is that if you look in the northern sky compared to the southern sky, there's a difference in the fine structure constant, and it has to be checked really, really well. It takes years to do that, but it'll be done. There's another observation that I think that could be interesting. Nobody actually investigated if the pioneer anomaly is due to the speed of light changing when you get outside the solar system. There was an anomaly where it slowed down due to some effects that nobody actually knew why it was, but that could be another thing. I'm putting this in with the storm versus the electromagnetism because the storm, if you consider a storm being 300 kilometers per hour and you put a ship into the storm with a sail, a huge big sail, you will get the ship going on 299 kilometers per hour. You will never get it up to 300. You will never ever get it up above 300. And electromagnetism is all we know today. So we cannot get anything above the speed of light. It's impossible because we only know electromagnetism. I'm pretty sure that there is a force above electromagnetism and that we will be able to conquer that force, but we haven't found it. And we will never find it if we don't look. So where does all this happen if consciousness should be antimatter? It's in the zero-point field. It's the field with the lowest energy, also called vacuum. My theory is that antimatter is the mirror of the universe, and it might be our mind, memory, and consciousness in living organisms. When you have a theory and a hypothesis, you have to have a prediction. My prediction is that the better telescopes we get, the more galaxies will be found closer and closer to the last scattering. This means that the universe we observe today is only a fraction of the universe behind the last scattering. We cannot see the big universe. We are living in a little village compared. Think about how big the universe is. It's incredible. So, prediction number 2. When we find ways to measure the mass of antimatter, it will actually have anti-mass, which means anti-gravity. The energy of antimatter is negative. This is completely wacko to any physics physician that I know, because they say that antimatter, of course, has the same mass as matter. But I think that when you can like concentrate in a jar of antimatter, it will have anti-gravity. Otherwise, my theory, as I have it now at least, is wrong. So number 3 prediction is actually not a prediction, it's just a ha-ha, look what I said. The Higgs particles quantities will not be found, and the Standard Model will fail in its present form. There's a lot of rightness in the Standard Model, so it just has to be revised, as Einstein has. What will this lead to? I'm sure that it will lead to new inventions. I'm sure that we will be able to travel faster than light. I'm sure that we will be able to communicate live in present time with aliens. I'm sure that we will have much more energy and free energy. Free energy it's not true, because the energy is there already, so it's not really free, but we will be able to find a new energy source, that's for sure. We will be able to evolve mind over matter, and probably have some electromagnetic medicine where we can use this idea of antimatter to actually solve some medical problems. But best of all, I think that the mystery of the creator or the creators might be resolved. Maybe Gottfried Leibniz was right after all. Maybe we are gods. Maybe we are creators. I don't know. I think so, but I'm looking very forward to see what will happen in physics over the next decades, because it's going to be really, really exciting. And I hope that I get a little corner of the excitement with me. I hope you enjoyed the video here, and you have been able to see my blog spot in the top here all the time during the time, so you're welcome to comment on my blog if you wish. So have a very nice day and hope to see you. Bye bye. And it's a good head, isn't it?